Hi and welcome to A Better You, your one-stop shop for everything self-improvement, self-discovery and self-care. I'm Emily and today is part 3 in our language series. If you'd like to watch the other videos first, I will link them in the description bar below. Today we're going to chat about the main language families. What is the language family, how were language families formed, and why do we see some similarities between languages? Why are some languages easier to learn than others? As I mentioned in the last video, languages are created and then they go extinct, largely due to societal changes, for example the rise and fall of empires. This, plus factors such as the spread of agriculture, has led to the development of similar languages or language families. These usually developed from a single language, so your language families would have had a common ancestor, which would be the proto-language. So, a language family at its basic level is a group of families that are derived from the same ancestor, or the proto-language. Just as you might share some similarities with your ancestors, so do the languages that are from a shared ancestor share features of that language. And thus you can start to see similarities between different languages and spot where they have a similar ancestor.
So, if there are family trees of languages within a proto-group, with the proto-language being the roots, then there are also branches. For example, the Germanic branch of the Indo-European family tree. These share similar features. For example, you can see on screen how similar they are. So, two languages within the same family branch would have more similarities than two languages within the same proto-group, but not the same language family branch. Because there are often geographical movements, there is a dialect continuum, where the further the distance is between a dialect, the less understandable the dialects are of a similar language.
Kurdish is a great example here, with its Sorani and its Comanche dialects. If a language does not have any known family, then it is known as an isolate, which just essentially means we don't know which proto-language that language is from. We haven't identified that yet. So how many proto-languages are
There are
there?
around 5,000 to 8,000
which are
languages
the commonly
still used
spoken
as the
languages
primary
from?
form of communications today.
Which are the brothers
However,
and
many
cousins
more
and
languages
sisters
are
and uncles of
extinct
these
or
languages?
dead. That
The
is,
known
not used
proto-languages
as a primary
are
language tool. Proto-Afroasiatic, Proto-Niger-Congo, Proto-Caucasian, Proto-Basque, Proto-Indo-European, Proto-Altaic, Proto-Uralic, Proto-Chukotko Kamchatan, Proto-Anu, Proto-Dravidian, Proto-Pama-Nyangan, Proto-Trans-New Guinea, Proto-Austronesian, Proto-Krea-Dai, Proto-Sino-Tibetan, Proto-Hmong-Mien, Proto-Austroasiatic, Proto-Eskimo-Aleut, Proto-Algic, Proto-Iroquoian, Proto-Uto-Aztecten, Proto-Mayan, Proto-Nardene, Proto-Otte-Manguan, Proto-Ticonuan, Proto-Tupian, Proto-Macroge, and Proto-Arawakan. Apologies for the pronunciations.
So to pick up on some of the commonly spoken languages of the world, English is a great first example. English is Proto-Indo-European, and this is one of the bigger language families that has a lot of the commonly spoken languages today. For example, Spanish, German, Dutch, Persian, Kurdish, Afrikaans, Russian, Urdu, plus many, many more. Turkish sits in the Proto-Altaic language family, and that also has within it Korean and Japanese, again, plus many others. Chinese sits in the Proto-Sino-Tibetan family, and again, there are many, many more. So you can look all this up on the internet, and I'll share some useful links down below if you would like to find out more. So how does this come into play if you are a language learner? Well, often people ask how easy or difficult a language is to learn, and the language families are really relevant to this point. Because if you are learning a language that is in the same language family, especially if it is the same language branch of the family tree as your native languages, then it will be easier for you to learn because it will share more common factors than a language that is in a completely different tree. An example would be where you have the Turkish grammar structures that are very distinct to Turkey. They are very similar to Korean type structures, so it might be easier to learn those languages together. Whereas the German language structure and the German grammar structure, more to the point, is very similar to English, and so it makes it easier to learn for an English speaker. Thus, the more people that study languages, that get passionate about languages, that study linguistics, the better an understanding we will start to have about these proto-languages, about where our languages come from. So I would encourage you to get more into your languages, start to go down that rabbit hole and start to see where you might find those common features. And do let us know if you do identify any in the comment section below. With all that said, that's the end of our third video, and I can't wait to see you next week for another in the language series. If you did enjoy the video, or if you did find it useful, please do like it down below and share it with anybody else that you think might find it useful. And please do subscribe and turn on that bell to make sure that you spot the next in the language series. Thank you very much for watching.